Hello lovely people, welcome back to my channel. I hope you all are all right. Wow, it is early. I'm back with another set of videos, a two set if you will, for another show. This time we are talking every brilliant thing. The amount of names I've given this show, it is insane, but its name is Every Brilliant Thing. So today we are going to do the Nervous Guide, and then you know what's going to come in a minute. Let's hit the intro, let's explain my system, let's get into it. So yes, like I said, for every show that I see, I try and do two separate videos, time permitting or just life permitting. The first video is this one. This is the Nervous Guide. This is everything you need to know about the show before you go in. So sensory warnings, content warnings, view from my seat, things about the theatre itself, everything you need to know before you go in. Kind of a helpful hand if you're a bit nervous going into the show. That's this video. The second video is the review. The review is always put in inverted commas, usually more than that. I'm usually like this, but it's a review because at the end of the day I'm in no way professional. I'm just spouting my thoughts, my feelings and everything else that comes out. Yeah, because 9 times out of 10 I'm going to see shows alone. I don't have that soundboard after you leave the theatre where, I don't know if anyone else does this, but very much when you're on your own and you're walking out and you hear people around you like, so what did you think? And we're like, I have no one to have this conversation with. That's what this channel's all about. So without further ado, let's get into it. Let's do the Nervous Guide. Where to start? Let's talk view and theatre. So this is taking place at the Soho Place. Moving on. That theatre, if you've never been there, is slap bang in the middle of Tottenham Court Road in central London. Closest tube is Tottenham Court Road, and if you get out by the Outernet, it's literally opposite. I have visited this theatre once before and I saw The Little Big Things. Apparently me going to this theatre means I'm going to cry. Spoiler alert for the review. But yes, I have only ever sat in the stalls level, so please, I'm going to try at some point to go further up. If you've never been in this theatre, the theatre is in the round, so there is seats all sides of the stage, and there is technically 3 levels. There is the stalls level, and then there is first balcony and second balcony. I'm not sure if second balcony was used for my performance. I know first was, but I'm not sure about second. As far as I know, the views further up are still pretty decent, but like I said, I've never been up there. I was sat in stalls F9. The doors around the stalls, like I said, it is in the round, are labelled with A, B, C and D. Once you get to the first level, after you've climbed the stairs, there is usually a lovely person there saying hi, where are you sitting, in case you need to go up any more stairs, or just in case you need to be told which door you are on. I was told at that point, I forgot, so I didn't have to go to someone else, and they very helped and they were very helpful and told me I needed to go through such and such door. As always, my view from my seat will be here. One thing to mention about where I was sat is that it is one of the higher seats at the back. One thing to mention about where I was sat is that I was sat on the higher seats, which means they're higher up. Basically, your legs will be a little bit dangling. There is a footrest, and I think there was a slight bar in front. It was still a pretty decent, comfortable seat, and also because of where I wasn't picked on. What do I mean by picked on? Let's get into the sensory and content warnings. So let's start with content, because I feel like that is the bigger thing when it comes to this show. So on entrance to the theatre space into the actual auditorium, there are signs everywhere saying this production contains themes of suicide and depression. If you leave the auditorium during the performance, there'll be no readmittance. The reason why is that it is 1 hour 15 all the way through. There is no chance of getting back in. Just thought I'd be telling you there. I mean, I say 1 hour 15, they say 85 minutes. Potato potato. Further to that, there is also the content warning on Todaytix. So Todaytix contains discussion of suicide and depression again, and it also talks about the second thing. That second thing includes audience participation and involvement. Now, previously I said something along the lines of where I was sat meant that I was not picked on. As you enter the auditorium and you take your seats, I don't know if this is going to be the same with every person who's doing this, because this show is being done by 5 separate people depending on the night or your performance. But when I saw it, the person who was the one person in this one person show was Lenny Henry. So he was welcoming people in, handing out the cards. On these cards, as far as I know, because there was no one holding them anywhere around me, were small, short sentences, a few longer sentences, and basically they had a number on the top. When the performer on the stage said that number, the person shouted out what was on the card. I'm not going to explain too much why, but that is one possibility. The other possibility with audience participation, and how to say this without spoiling it, because I don't want to spoil the entire play, there is 4 people who get picked on. They are asked prior to the show starting, so it's not a case of oh, you, in the middle of the show. I'm pretty sure they were asked as people came in, but there are 4 people chosen to be more than just a reading part. I assume you can say no. Like I said, I was in a space and a place where no one picked on me, so there we go. But it is something to be aware of if, like me, you would probably die in that situation. So I thought I'd pass it on. Like I said, content-wise, there is discussion of mental health, suicide, and depression. It is done in such a beautiful, tasteful way, but it is the majority of this show, so it is something to be aware of if you are going in and you have had to deal with that or are dealing with that in your life. So that is view from my seat, the theatre itself, content warning, sensory warnings, final thing, merch. Yeah, we're doing that now. I started showing what I'm buying from shows recently, and one person was like, hey, do more of that. So it's like, okay. The only thing I bought from this show, because it's the only thing available to purchase to my knowledge, is the programme. Ooh, programme. Because it is a new theatre, and it is also a NIMAX theatre, I believe, technically. We all know how I feel about this. On the spine it says the name of the show and where it is. We all know I love this. I mean, if you could have all of them like that, I could stack them on like a bookcase, but I can't because I have too many, for one thing. Yeah, it was £5. You can get them on entrance as you walk in after you've had your bags checked and your ticket scanned. There is someone standing by the door holding some. There is also the chance to buy them, I assume, at the bars. I didn't visit a bar. And there is also a few people holding them on the doors as you enter. So there is multitude ways where you can get your programme, and like I said, they're £5. And again, pretty decent quality. It's very colourful. Look at this. Ooh, colourful. But yeah, literally only bought the programme. I did really well merch wise, apart from one show this whole trip. But anyway, let's silence myself because I'm trying to fit in one more video before I go. I'm going to leave this video here, so thank you very much for watching. I hope this helps if you have got to the end and are hoping to go and see this show. Other than that, all that's left to say is the usual, which is I love you all lots, and finally, so long, farewell, auf Wiedersehen, and goodbye. Bye.